SRB separation confirmed. Coming up on staging, the burnout of these twin solid rocket boosters at 2 minutes 5 seconds.
I can tell you about my life, I got scars for the proof. Know my bars are the truth, now it's stars in the roof. Plus I'm rolling with another star. If you ever saw the service on a double R, could've bought another car. Reasoning with Lizzie, yeah, I talk to my money. I'll be running to the bands, they just walk to the money. You can't talk to me funny, never. She gave me brains in the roller, that's what I call thoughts in a culli. Okay.
With all due respect to Trevor Bryan, if he ever watches this video, he's fucking terrible.
Your love for AJ caused the resurgence of Frank Warren.
Yeah, probably.
But do you know who don't like you?
Go on.
Javonte Davis.
I said, you need bring a stepladder. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a tiny geezer.
He's probably one of the most disrespectful boxers out there.
My voice went up about 8 octaves. I was like, look, just calm down.
Because you know you're going to die.
Oh, cheers.
Outside of the ring, how gangster is the sport of boxing?
That build-up was wild. Like, there was public workouts where Dillian and his lot would go over to and wait for AJ to come out.
Oh, you actually heard it in the video?
Yeah, he's laying on the floor, his legs buckled underneath him, his mum's in the ring crying. Like, oh, mate. Like, the money's great and everything, but my soul's not in it.
Who is the greatest promoter of all time?
Me.
Eddie, nice to meet you, sir.
How are you?
Not too bad, sir. How are you?
This is the famous whip, yeah?
It is a famous whip, actually. Why am I picking you up from court? What's going on here?
Well, this is the Courthouse Hotel. We just had a press conference.
Oh, so it's not like a regular court?
No, it's not a regular court. Although it does say the Royal Magistrates.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, what kind of trouble are you into, little driving?
Yeah, not been to court yet, but I'm sure it's coming at some point.
Okay, where we headed to?
We're going to Brentwood. We're going
Perfect.
Essex bound. You ever been out around that way?
Yeah. The mother of my child grew up in Brentwood.
Yeah?
So
Really?
There you go. I want to start by talking about your success. And I feel like a lot of people love to kind of glorify people that come from nothing and become something, right? But I also feel like something just as important, but almost gets slept on, when people come from something and are able to build on what has already been established and take it further to a next level, I feel like gets slept on a lot, because they don't understand that when you grow up and you're around success, it doesn't necessarily always drive you to become successful. Sometimes it can make you lazy, sometimes it can make you complacent. And in terms of your journey, being able to build on what was already established, what has made you this way inclined, and how have you been able to manage and become as successful as you are?
I'm first generation money, you know? So actually my dad only started making money when I was 5, 6, 7, 8. And even then he weren't flying. Like, my dad would always say to me, my dad's obsessed with money, like to a point where I don't think it's actually that healthy. Like every conversation is about money.
Is it about making it all the time? Does he ever think about spending it?
Yeah, he spends it. He's bought a few things, but my dad is like one of the, he's trappy, but he's one of the sort of least flashy guys in terms of his possessions.
Okay.
I had to beg him to get a new car. Do you know what I mean? To the
really?
point where it become a little bit embarrassing. I'm like, Bazza, which is what I know him as rather than my dad.
Yeah.
You're absolutely cake. You're driving around in this motor that I don't care. You know, my mum buys him clothes from Marks and Spencer's. Like, he has no interest in that kind of stuff. And he said to me once, you know, Ed, you have to understand that my mum used to clean the houses of rich people in Essex, right? Over, like, they'd go over Loughton and like Faden Boys, and I had this kind of anger inside me that one day I was going to live in a house like that. I was going to make that kind of money. And he's so ferocious to that fact as a businessman or a hustler or an entrepreneur, or whatever you want to call him, that now I sometimes say to him, any chance of a conversation that ain't about money? And he's like, no, not really.
And so, where do you think?
But he used to count money. Like, so when I was growing up, he would put all his coins, like from a night out or whatever, in a jar, and I would like count them up, and he would say, I'll tell you what I'd do, and he'd lay all his shoes out and he'd say, you polish every shoe, I'll give you 50p a shoe. And I would do like 8 shoes and get £4. And I was just built on making money. Do you know what I mean? Just grafting. And I guess that's, you know, testament to him for as much as I got a leg up, right? And in life, you have to play the hand you're dealt. So there's no point moaning about it. I got a leg up. Someone who, I don't know, might be born around here, it's very hard to come out of that and actually achieve. Particularly people with a successful father. I think as a son, it's really quite difficult to outperform them. You don't see it very often. Frank Lampard, proper grafter. Like when we were at school, he would be over the fields every night grafting with his dad. And when he got his contract at West Ham, everyone said, oh, he's got it because of his old man. It's actually a joke that he's in the team. You know, people saying young Scotty Canham should be in the side. They've just given him the contract because of his dad. One of the best footballers England's ever produced. Proper grafter. And again, his dad, like, you almost forget about the dad. You know, to a point where me and my old man laugh all the time because he's now Eddie Hearn's dad. For most of my life, I was Barry Hearn's son.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the point. That's exactly the point I was trying to make, as in being able to accomplish that from the position that you are at is amazing. It's not something that should be taken lightly, because nothing's given in this life. You have to have some sort
of course.
Passion and drive that comes from within. With your dad being so obsessed about money, do you feel like you share a little bit of that sentiment?
When I was in my 20s, I was money mad. Even like now, like very far removed from that.
That's because you've got enough money.
Maybe.
Well,
I just
more than what you had.
I think, how old are you?
30 something.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 45.
Yeah.
And life changes a lot. I used to really, and I don't mind saying it because I think it's a good conversation to talk about. I used to think that people, maybe, who lived around here or whatever, they weren't successful. But actually, that's not true. Because success is an individual interpretation. And it's a feeling inside. If you feel like you're a success, if a 9 to 5 in a shop gives you the life that you want for your kids, and to give you that energy and spirit to walk around and feel happy, and that's success.
I feel like the richest man in the world is the man who can afford to smile the most
during
his days.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because I feel so. I feel like that, because if you spend money,
you think money can give you success and happiness. I mean, don't get me wrong. I
think it's about finding whatever the balance is that makes you the most happy in your days.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're consistently chasing money or chasing after something, that might mean that you have less time to spend with your family or your loved ones, or doing things that actually make you happy. It's about finding whatever that balance is and being able to smile about it the most, you know what I'm trying to say, and just having a good time and a good day. But yeah, that's my definition. Sounds like you don't agree, but it's all right, Eddie.
No, I do. I think that if I said to my dad, do you think money can buy you happiness? He'd go, fucking every day of the week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's insane.
But it's interesting because he's 76.
Well, he actually believes that?
Yeah, he does.
I want to talk about something that's pretty far-fetched in my opinion, but obviously back in the day it was alleged, rumored, like there was a light rumor that when Frank Warren got shot, that your dad had something to do with it. Rumored lightly. What, is this true or not? Because I heard about this.
Yeah, not really rumored, but the police came round after the incident. I was at home.
Yeah.
And I remember him turning up and they said, Mr. Hearn, can I ask you where you were at this time? And he said, I was sitting here watching TV. And they said, do you know anybody that would have a grudge against Mr. Warren? Mm-hmm. And my dad, I think, famously said, well, rule out Mother Teresa, but other than that, don't hold that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, Frank is a very resilient man.
Yeah.
Very resilient man.
Before we get to that, I want to know what it was like. Obviously, in the last couple of years, we've seen unity in terms of collaborations between yourselves and them. But I want to know what was the environment and the state of mind like when you were growing up? Was it always like, because obviously even in my field, there's people I compete with and that kind of stuff. And obviously once you're on this side, you're on this, you know how it goes sometimes. Did you grow up feeling like Frank Warren, for example, is the opposition? We don't work with Frank. We're trying to outdo Frank.
Yeah, I mean, an honest answer is yeah. I mean, a lot of my time growing up would be spent in my dad's study. just trying to be around him. You're like, as a kid, you want to be around your dad, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, and from 8 p.m, he'd sit on the phone till 11 o'clock midnight, and he'd be on the phone to Don King, to Bob Arum, to Frank Warren, to, you know, various people from the boxing industry, and he'd be arguing a lot, you know. And I think, you know, you could really see that when I started to take control of British boxing and outdo Frank Warren, and, you know, they've come back and it's very competitive at the moment, but there was a long period where it wasn't that competitive, and I think I could see in his eyes that it was like, go on, son.
Yeah.
You know.
So before you began to do business with Frank, did you have to convince your dad, obviously, because your dad's been at war with this guy in the business world, I suppose, for decades.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of showing your dad new things, you're doing new things or whatever. There's an opportunity to work with Frank Warren in some capacity, and you can see the vision. You can see the vision from A to Z, how it's going to work and what's going to come out of it. How do you have that conversation with your dad? And did you have to have that conversation with your dad?
He was definitely a bit wary. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like, be careful, son.
But isn't this like the maddest thing you could ever say to
it
your
is.
dad?
And I think one thing that I've been a lot better at than him is dropping grudges or putting egos to the side to get business done. He's very stubborn in that respect.
Yeah,
of
for
like,
life.
We don't get on. Don't ever talk. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'll shake
yeah.
your hand, but we ain't doing business.
Yeah.
Simple.
I used to be like that. I'm becoming like you now.
Yeah, but I think you get so much more done. Like, you can have such a better, and he'll sort of say, how'd you put up with him? I say, because the deal's right. You know, on one hand, you're telling me how the business and money and all this stuff is the most important thing out there. Well, now we're making more money than ever, and the business is great. So what's the problem? And he's like, fucking, I don't know, you can do that, you know.
And have you managed to, like, during the course of this whole thing, because we can tell that you and Frank actually do get on it.
Yeah, we
it
do.
Really
like,
seems like
AJ said, I think he said in an interview the other day that he thinks it's a bit fake.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, that's what he said. And I would, like, when we first came together, when His Excellency, you know, Turki Al-Sheikh said, guys, I don't care about this rival. Like, just get on, make these shows, make these fights. And I reluctantly shook his hand the first time, and it was like, all right, look, let's just put it to one side and, like, get business done. And we were like, all right then.
So have your dad and Frank spoke during any of
Yeah,
this
do you know,
time?
it's quite weird because I went to a meeting in London with the Saudis, and my dad came along to have a meeting with me, and Frank was there. And they're like, hey, Frank, you know, and it was like, I don't know when the last time they saw each other was, 20 years ago, you know. And it wasn't awkward, but it was like, it was just two old blokes, and it was quite funny because they were talking. It's like, you got some problems with your back, ain't you? Yeah, he goes, me too. God, it's calling me. What's up with yours? Oh, it's the discs here. What about yours? You know what I mean? It's yeah. But life passes you by real quick, and I just feel that it's not worth it, you know? Like, rivalry's good because I don't think we'd be where we are, and nor would they be without that rivalry, because we both wanted to win so bad. We've all performed.
Yeah.
But after a while, honestly, like, it's made my job more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like getting out of the back and forth every day. IFL. Oh, Frank Warren said this about you. Frank Warren said that. Legal letter. This fighter's talking to Frank Warren. He's coming. You know what I mean? It's like constant. It's draining.
Yeah, no, I do
And
spend a
now,
lot of
you
time
know,
watching
yeah.
IFL, checking your latest.
Oh, they've had a stinker because now there's no beef.
I want to talk about the relationship between you and AJ because that seems very organic, and it seems like it's more than business with AJ a little bit. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when AJ, a lot of the media said to me, oh, AJ said that your relationship with Frank Warren is fake. He don't mince his words, AJ. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's like this perception of AJ. You know, when he had that thing with Dubois the other day where he said he's going to smash a chair in his face.
Yeah, the table.
Everyone's like, wow, what's happened to AJ? It's like absolutely nothing at all.
You look really happy in that moment. Why was you smiling so much?
Of course, because I'm thinking, one, I love it when people see, not the real AJ, because he's probably one of the nicest blokes you could ever meet, but that edge, like,
yeah, when he's angry
he's
a
a
little
kid
bit.
from an estate in Watford, like, he knocks motherfuckers out. That's what he does, yeah? And he would have done that on the street, and he'd do that in the ring, right? And when someone says, he doesn't often lose it, but when someone says to him, we'll go now if you want, it's like, right, it just changes completely, as if to say, if you're gonna say that, this like you need to stand on business.
I didn't even think Dubois was like saying it in the rudest way.
No, but it's the word. And when they say, like, he goes, because Warren said, and we'll see you September 21st, and Dubois just randomly went, or if you want to swing now, we can go now. And I was like, oh no. And he went, don't fucking disrespect me, Dan. And I was like, what? Oh no.
Oh yeah.
I'll stick this chair across your face.
Yeah.
Now.
Nah, he was convincing.
I know. Well, he was serious, and like it was pretty scary. But going back to our relationship, you know.
Yeah, like what makes you take to him a lot? Because you can't deny that that's a little bit more than business. It looks like there's a friendship.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a bit cringe to say he's part of the family,
no,
but in terms of the in terms of the Matrim family, I mean, it very much is. You know, he has a part of the business now that we almost gifted to him because of his loyalty towards us, and that loyalty in boxing is very rare. He's signed 3 contracts with us, contract extensions, and his last one was for the rest of his boxing career.
Wow.
He will be with Matrim. You imagine the amount of approaches that Anthony Joshua has had in his career to leave Matrim. He has never been close to leaving us or walking away. Do you know what I mean? And that loyalty, 1, is very rare, and 2, should always be rewarded. Do you know, like every now and again, he'll message like my dad, right? And he'll say, how are you, Barry? Just checking in. Like, do you know what a class thing that is to do? Like, and he does that, I'm sure, for hundreds of different people. And he has so much time for people. Like, people pull him around, you know, the pressure of going out, photos, time for kids just turning up at the boxing gym. Like, he has time for everybody. And he is one of the nicest people and purest guys I've ever met. And from a business level, he helped change the path of Matrim and Matrim boxing to go to the global level that we're on now. And we helped him get to where he is now. But he done the hard part, which was fighting. But it's just been the greatest relationship, you know. And I feel for him sometimes because I think it's a lot of pressure. You know, I think he never signed up for that kind of life. You know, if you know AJ, like, all he really likes doing is chilling with his mates, going out on the bikes, you know, rocking around, I don't know, playing a bit of football over the park. But life became quite serious, you know, and I feel like that happens a lot. People think, we go back to the success conversation, people think that all this money and all this success and all these belts is like, but it ain't easy. And sometimes you want to get out of that world, I think. And I think when he sort of combusted a little bit after that Usyk 2 fight, you know, I think that was a release of that. Like, this is a life that I never like.
Yeah.
But because he's just a normal guy.
When I see AJ, I can see he's a very good guy inside. But obviously he's been blessed with talents of danger and hurting people. Yeah. And obviously as well, like.
But that's not normal either, is it?
Yeah, it's not normal. And with all this success and all this money and all these distractions, I can always see him constantly like picking to do the right things as opposed to the wrong ones, if that makes anything.
But he's got a saying that he uses a lot, and he bought me a lovely chain the other day. It's not really my style, but I wear it with pride.
Yeah.
And on the back of it, it says "Clean hearts win," and that's like a little bit of his mantra. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I think that if you live by that, if you continue to do the right thing, you're going to make mistakes in life, but if you consistently make the right decisions, consistency is a key word. Like, and that's why he's been at the top for such a long time, because he's the most consistent fighter I've seen in terms of his preparation. No one is as meticulous as him in what he does. Mate, honestly, unbelievable. Like, out of camp, training, in camp, always looking to perform, always looking to improve, always looking for the edges.
So he's kind of like one of the core, most dedicated boxers you've seen?
By a mile.
And you mean that?
By a mile. I mean, probably to a little bit of a, you know, an OTT stage where he's looking for the 0.1% rather than the 1 and 2%. Do you know what I mean? And he's obsessed with improving. And that's like, you know, Marvin Hagler said, it's very difficult to get up and do your hill sprints when you're wearing silk pajamas. And any fighter that comes from nothing, I think that quote is the definition of your achievement.
Yeah. So this is what I was trying to say at the start.
That's why I respect AJ so much, because he wants it more now, and he works harder now than he's ever worked in the sport.
Makes sense.
And he's in the back end of his career.
Is Tyson Fury the most successful boxer from the UK ever?
I mean, it depends on what level.
I'm talking about financially.
No, AJ.
Really?
Definitely AJ. Yeah, consistently over the years. I mean, Fury's made a lot of money in the last 3, 4, 5 years. AJ's been at it for the last decade. Big pay-per-views, huge site fees. You know, he's also the first fighter that's had the massive commercial deals. Under Armour, Beats, Lucozade. You know, the big brands getting behind him. So
I remember once he did something on YouTube and was like showing like his house.
Yeah.
Quotation marks. And I was thinking, who does he think he's fooling with this guy that he's presented to the audience? It was hilarious. How do you navigate your relationships with other boxers under your banner in the heavyweight division in terms of those that are naturally going to feel like AJ's your favorite, AJ gets this, AJ gets that? How do you navigate that?
I think luckily AJ got to a level where that's always going to happen, but that's probably why I never signed Tyson Fury. You know,
I was going to get onto that.
He came to see me in Monaco once at his worst.
When he was out of shape,
27 stone, sweating, and what he come back from was actually quite remarkable, in all honesty. And you know, I sat next to him, and I didn't believe that he would get back to where he did. But also, part of me just felt like, how can I put my heart and soul into you when I got this guy who's like my mate, you know, a guy that I respect so much, and I really want him to beat you. Like, for me, you get to a point, particularly in this business, where you want to have the relationships and the journeys. You want to make money, but I want to, like, the journey that I've been on with AJ, we'll never forget. And I don't want to fall out with him because I signed Tyson Fury, and he's not that kind of guy.
So
AJ,
your love for AJ caused the resurgence of Frank Warren.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's funny. But then without AJ, I wouldn't be where I was. So
of course. So you couldn't handle both at the same time.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a conflict of interest.
I just think it wouldn't have been real of me. And I don't want, like, the one thing about my relationship with AJ, it's real, and it's always been real. You know, we are honest with each other. We're on a level with each other. Neither of us have ever lied to each other. And I don't want to start being uncomfortable in a situation where, you know, because it only takes one line at a press conference where, you know, I'm up there with Tyson Fury, and this guy is the best heavyweight in the world. And it's like, whoa, what? You know, and that can all change in one line. And I don't know. I think that very few times do you start a journey with a fighter from the pro debut to the end of the career, and you can have those conversations and those glasses of wine, or in AJ's case, maybe a glass of water, or Lucozade, yeah, good point. Yeah. When it's all said and done. You know what I mean? And go, we had a good run, didn't we, mate?
Yeah, you know, but do you still hear the chatter in terms of, like, people, like, for example, when I've seen some interviews at times with maybe you and Dillian White, or you and Chisora, maybe, well, more Dillian, I think, at times, where he's just been like a bit winding you up about that.
Yeah,
like,
but,
it's clear.
But people take the, you know.
So it's not all that serious.
No, you can't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
But two, you got to be real with it.
Yeah.
And I just say, yeah, fucking right.
Yeah.
People go, you love AJ. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do, mate. I think he's great. Do you know what I mean? And he's a lot more important than you are. So, but that again comes with the age and the honesty of, like, you know, you just become a little bit more brutal, and you might as well just be honest. Yeah, AJ is the most important part of our business. AJ is the person I have the best relationship with of my fighters. AJ is the guy I respect and admire the most. Simple. Quite a funny story about AJ Ringwalks is for a large part of the early part of his career, I would say to him before every fight, got a great Ringwalk song for you. Right? And he'd go, oh yeah, hear it. Let me hear it. And I'd play it. And he'd look at me as if to say, mate, I ain't walking out to
What
that.
kind of music?
Oh, it could be anything.
You
know, it could be like, I don't know, might be a hip hop track, or might be something from the Rocky soundtrack or whatever. But he's got his own. He knows exactly what to come out to. I reckon for his first 15 fights, I recommended a Ringwalk song, and he never went for one of them.
Nah, you know what? That's part of the reason why we like AJ. Part of the reason is, obviously, aside from his humility and his passion, dedication, and his achievements, is part of it is Ringwalk music. They made a big deal. And AJ liking you is a part of the reason why we like you as well, because we kind of trusting him and his judgment a little bit.
Yeah.
But do you know who don't like you?
Go on.
Javonte Davis.
Oh,
Why
I know,
does Tank not
I
like
don't know,
you?
really. You know what I think a lot of it is that people listen to people, right? So when I made the move in America, like it was like, don't let him in. Don't let Eddie Hearn in. He ain't good for you. He ain't gonna do right by you. You know, he's a snake. He's this. He's that. Like I've met Javonte Davis once. Never had a conversation really. Like, and he's got all these opinions of me because of what people said about me to him.
He sounds so passionate about it. Like where?
Yeah, I know.
Where
like,
do you must have
see
thought
the interview
about.
the other day. Eddie Hearn.
He's a
He's a snake.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why are you saying that? You know, it's like, yeah. Well, I did make a mistake once. I said that when he boxed Ryan Garcia, I said he's not an overthinker, right? I said he's not particularly. I might have said something like he's not particularly eloquent or something like that. Like, and I shouldn't have said that. But when I said he's not an overthinker, what I mean by that is, boxing is a mental game as well. Some people, like you look at Ryan Garcia, he is an overthinker. Mentally, he's weak, in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Javonte's just a fucking bad motherfucker. You don't have to big up Javonte. You don't have to convince him. He goes in there and he wants to fucking put hurt on people and get them out of there. And he actually messaged me. He said, I didn't like what you said, you know, because I think the perception is that I sort of said that he was uneducated.
Okay, that's how he took it.
Yeah, I think so. And I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have used the word I said. And I did apologise to him for that.
But I did see you antagonize him a tiny bit when he said he was going to do you, and he said something about, what did he say, like a ladder or something?
But what he does, he deletes tweets. I find it so annoying. Do you know what I mean? Like he posts something. So he says to me something like, when I see you, I'm gonna slap you or whatever. And I said, you need bring a step ladder. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a tiny geezer, but he would still iron me out in a nanosecond and splatter me all over the floor.
Obviously, we know you're familiar with UK rap a little bit. We've seen some clips of you, you know, singing along to some tunes. I think you go viral on TikTok quite a lot as well. Well, do you have a favourite UK artist that you listen to?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when people sometimes say to me, like, what kind of music do you listen to? And if I say hip hop or anything like that, people kind of go,
that does sound surprising. Is it actually hip hop?
Yeah, I mean, I love all music, but you know, growing up, I would be listening to NWA, Nate Dogg, Ice Cube, Ice-T, like all of that. A lot of that, you know, Biggie Smalls and Tupac were a little bit later, but I listen to a lot of that stuff now still.
These are the songs you were pitching to AJ for the ring walk?
Pretty much, yeah.
This is why
he was
no.
like, oh my God.
Which one of your boxers has given you the biggest headache in terms of like communication? Because you know what it is in boxing is very testosterone filled.
Yeah.
Like people that box and are strong and are, you know, full of.
Yeah, I mean, probably go back to the Dillian and Chisora days, you know, like when they went through that little stage of rolling around on the floor at the gloves are off and slinging tables at each other. And
how real were those moments? That's real.
I mean, the one thing that makes me laugh more than anything is like when people go, that's a setup. It's like, mate, you think I could say to Dillian White, do us a favour, have a roll around on the floor, or Derek, do us a favour, pick that table up and sling it at my head and Dillian White's head. Those two for a while was really bad with those two. Like it was, you know, now I never really get uncomfortable in situations. You know, we just come from a press conference, Johnny Fisher against Alan Babbage, a Savage, and he's like, I'm gonna do this and do that, you know, and Eddie Hearn, you said to me, and people said, like, they asked me immediately, was you scared up there? It's like, no, not really. I've been around for a long time, you know what I mean? But when Dillian and Derek go off, it's different. You know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you, like, at any point, and I'm glad you just touched on that, at any point in your career, have you felt like you could have been in a physical altercation with a fighter, like, where it went a little bit past that talking?
Yeah, I think probably that moment. I mean, I was very young then. I mean, I say I was young. It was probably like 10 years ago, something like that. So
35.
Yeah, so I was a bit green. I was inexperienced, and again, like as you become older, you become a lot more fearless. Like, if I get chinned,
because you know you're gonna die. Like,
Oh, cheers.
No,
But you know
no,
what I'm
no,
saying?
no,
Like,
no, no.
you know,
but
like
you're getting older.
if I get chinned
Yeah.
at a press conference,
Yeah.
I'll get chinned. Do you know what I mean? But when you're like in your 30, you know, oh, blimey, if he chins, like, I don't.
You got a lot more ego there.
I don't know what it is, but you just So, but that was probably the moment. So Chisora picked up the table, threw it at Dillian White. Dillian White got up. The coach slung the microphone over, and I'm trying to calm it all down. So I go over to Derek and he goes to me, something like, "Do you want me to end this all now?" Like right in my face, and I'm thinking to myself, "Fuck me! If you chin me here, I mean, one, you could kill me, and two, I am absolutely. I mean, I was shitting myself. My voice went up about 8 octaves. I was like, "Look, Derek, just calm down." You know, where again, that's just experience of being in those kind of situations.
That is tall as hell.
That's one thing that people say to me all the time.
I feel like Dillian White is, in terms of entertainment level, when you're at home watching these press conferences or these one-on-one situations where they discuss the fight before the fight goes down. Like, I feel like he's probably one of the most disrespectful boxers out there, maybe under your banner. One of the most entertaining things he's done, you know, remember that conference he did with AJ, that talk?
Yeah.
And he just said stuff like, "Oh, you used to wear my trousers," or whatever he's saying, yeah, which is so crazy, yeah. Do you appreciate those things about him specifically outside of whoever he's fighting, because it contributes to like attention?
Oh yeah, you want, like, there's nothing more boring than you're running a press conference. You say to someone, "Big fight Saturday, how you feeling?" "Yeah, I've had a good camp, I'm excited."
It's
Come
boring.
on, mate.
Yeah.
Tell me you want to rip his head off. Tell me that you know, I don't know, like whatever. So Dillian is great at that. Dillian changed quite a bit. Like when Dillian first started, he was so raw. Like when you talk about ready to go at any time. I mean, when AJ boxed Dillian, remember that fight at the O2? That build-up was wild. Like there was public workouts where Dillian and his lot would go over to and wait for AJ to come out of certain, you know, parts of the gym, and like, you know, to have a, like, not necessarily have it there, but just it was on road.
Oh, so he was.
You know what I mean?
So he was.
But it was
trying to intimidate him a little.
without doubt.
I want to know, outside of the ring, how gangster is the sport of boxing in terms of like, how emotional do people get outside the ring? Like, you've obviously mentioned certain situations that have happened, but does that happen a lot in the boxing world?
Yeah, I think that.
Does it get gangster a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
But it never really makes we never really hear too much about that.
But, you know, I mean, I think at the top level,
yeah,
you know, people are trying to be respectful of the code. The one thing I say about boxing, and this is why I always push boxing in the community, we talk about knife crime and gang crime and all that kind of stuff. It's supposed to take the aggression out of you. It's supposed to take that, you know, that chip on your shoulder out of you. That what happens in a fight and what happens in the gym stays in the gym. So a lot of these fighters, although they're still very edgy, they do have an element of that in them. Now, when the switch flicks and it goes, and there's nothing you can do about it. But, you know, every fighter will say the same thing. Boxing saved my life. You know, boxing either changed my life or saved my life. And that's why I wish, you know, the government and local communities and politicians would actually do more for amateur boxing clubs, because it definitely puts you on a different path.
You know, with boxing and with these banned substances, right? I want to know how realistic sometimes, because obviously, like, say you're training for a fight, someone's cooking for you, you're eating here, you might eat there, you might eat there. How realistic is it all the time that the boxer consciously knew that he was taking banned substances? Or
that's a good question.
Yeah,
I think 20% of failed drugs tests are legitimately fighters that are unlucky or have unknowingly taken a substance, I think 80% people are cheating. Do you know what I mean? And establishing what's what is very difficult to do, because fighters are never going to take illegal substances themselves. They ain't going to wake up one day, go on the internet and go, right, let me just have a little look at what we need here. Yeah, I'm going to order some of that in, like on Amazon. Someone will come up to them and say, listen, we need to improve your strength. What we can do is we can take this and this and you know, and maybe they won't even tell them that it's a banned substance. But a lot of the time, people are genuinely cheating. You're talking about testing to minute trace levels within your blood.
That's what I'm saying.
So you can have, like in Mexico, it is a genuine thing that some meat contains really like testosterone, and fighters test positive for that. Eggs, you know, this kind of stuff. You don't know what people are putting in animals. And also, like, I often think, like, if you go to a restaurant, so I go to a restaurant with AJ, I'm looking at the food thinking, like, because there's some horrible fuckers out there. You put something in that food, the career's over.
That's what
and
I'm
you
saying.
imagine, like, everything that you've built because one evil individual comes crumbling down.
That's what I'm saying. Do boxers, like, our boxers constantly
the top
thinking
level,
about this
absolutely,
when
like
they go out to eat?
Yeah, like I'll give you an example. After a fight, you might get in a ring, and someone, could be from the other team, whatever, comes up to you and say you've had a tough fight, and he'll go like that with a water bottle, saying, you know, what's in that? Do you know what I mean? So that's why
it gets crazy like that.
Yeah, cool. But I'm not saying that there's anything in there. There could be.
Yeah.
So at the top level, like AJ, no bottles. Every bottle's been tested. Everyone, you know, every bottle's sealed. Nothing comes in the changing room, you know, because you have to, because you're protecting your career and also your reputation. Imagine that must be the worst thing in the world, is to test positive, having not knowingly taken a substance, and then you're called a cheat for the rest of your career, and you never done it.
Especially if they plugged you in after a fight with a cheeky bottle of water. That's crazy.
I mean, look, I'm paranoid in that world because I know what people are like. We did fight camp, do you remember? Outside.
In Corona?
In COVID, yeah.
That was out there?
That's it. Yeah. When Lillian got knocked out by the
Yeah, I remember. So when AJ fought Ruiz, obviously he wasn't planning to fight Ruiz. And it was just like a fight that came up. You guys probably thought, reputable fight.
Yeah.
We're going to kill him, move on to the next. Like, personally, like, how... I know everyone says, oh, it's heavyweight boxing. Anything could happen in heavyweight boxing. But how guilty did you feel?
When Jarrell Miller pulled out, which was a real kick in the bollocks, I had two choices. I had Andy Ruiz and I had a guy called Trevor Bryan, right?
Yeah.
Trevor Bryan somehow got himself to number 1 or 2 in the world. With all due respect to Trevor Bryan, if he ever watches this video, he's fucking terrible, right? And it was such a chronic mismatch. And Andy Ruiz, although didn't look great, can fight. It's a proper fight. And Don King phoned me up before the fight because he had Trevor Bryan. And he was like, Eddie, you got to pick my man Trevor Bryan, blah, blah, blah. I said, Don, it's a 1-round job. Yeah, it don't matter. He's going to come over, knock out an American, blah, 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 blah. I said, nah, but I like the Andy Ruiz fight because I think it's a real fight. And we're full up at the MSG. The last thing I want to do is take AJ to MSG, knock over a guy in a mismatch. Everyone moans like, Andy Ruiz can fight. I said, I know. That's the whole point. He said, and he looks terrible in his shorts and he's going to get no credibility when he beats him and blah, blah, blah. And then obviously when AJ got beat, I was thinking back to that conversation, thinking, fuck me, we should have gone with Trevor Bryan. But it might have been the best thing that happened to him. I mean, he turned around and rematched him in Saudi. Made an absolute fortune and regained his world heavyweight title. So it worked out all right in the end, but that was a sore night. That was a very, very painful night at the office.
What's behind there? Just field and stuff?
Yes, we own that all the way down in the upstairs city there.
You own past
the fence, down a few fields.
Oh, is it?
25 acres.
So I know this might sound like a silly question, but I've actually always wondered the depths of it. Actually, I know that being a boxing promoter isn't necessarily the most regulated thing, as in like, whoa, correct me if I'm wrong, but anyone could be a promoter. In the most layman terms, if you may, what does a boxing promoter actually do?
Okay, so you are right in the respect of there's no barriers to entry in boxing. And that's actually one of the frustrating things about the boxing business, where like, say that you just turn around today and you went, do you know what? I'm going to start managing fighters, right? And next thing, you're in my office negotiating with me on a fighter and you're telling me this guy's worth $5 million. I'm like, what? And you go, no, what? I said, what? On what basis? It's just, we like the number. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck. So a boxing promoter really, I mean, from the level of promoting a fighter, the responsibility is to map out the career, to match really the fighter in the right way, to market the fighter, to build his profile, obviously, and then from a show perspective, build the show, contract the arena, sell the tickets, sell the TV rights, you know, domestically, internationally, sell the sponsorship, deal with the media, put the show on, the logistics of the show, deal with the local commissions, etc. So there's the two elements. There's promoting the show and there's promoting the career of a fighter as well. You know, and then you want talent on your roster, because the talent on your roster will really equate to the level or the success of your show. And then the success of your show and the talent of your roster will translate to your TV deal. And that's the kicker. The TV deal is really the deal that will basically determine the success of your company.
And in your opinion, who is the greatest promoter of all time?
Me.
Really?
Like, I mean, I do have a big ego, but the reality is no one has done what I've done globally. We're doing shows every week in UK, America, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Italy, Spain. No one's doing it. The only promoter that could ever rival me in terms of showmanship, if you like, is Don King. I mean, you knew there was a show in town when Don King was there.
How scary is Don King now as compared to what?
Well, not scary now because he's 93 years old. But
was he scary then?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, he's had a checkered past, hasn't he? And it was, you talk about the wild west of boxing. I mean, that's nothing nowadays compared to probably what it was like when Don King was in his prime.
Yeah, no, I agree. Something else I want you to explain to me actually is the difficulties in terms of making fights that fans want to see, because people are in conflicting deals with other people. Like, how does that work in layman's terms? So why can't I see Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson today? Or
so that's the rivalry. Like, you have the promotional companies and then you have the broadcasters, right? And every promotional company is aligned to a broadcaster. So it's very important, and you're exclusive, right? So all of my fighters fight on DAZN. All of Frank Warren's fighters fight on TNT. So you don't want to put your star talent on TNT, because then you're breaking your contract with DAZN, but also you're not servicing them in the right way to have a successful relationship and extend that deal. Plus, you've got the promotional rivalries, right? So maybe Bob Arum don't like me, or Al Heyman or PBC don't like me, or PBC don't like Golden Boy, whatever. What Turki Al-Sheikh has done really well is he's gone in and he's basically done deals. He's been the middleman. So he's done it, rather than Eddie Hearn doing a deal with Bob Arum, Turki Al-Sheikh's done a deal with Eddie Hearn and then got the deal done with Bob Arum. And then he's gone to ESPN and DAZN and sorted out the mess to be able to make that fight happen. Do you know what I mean? Because with our egos and our history and rivalries, we probably wouldn't have got it over the line. And that's why now you're seeing like Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk is on DAZN. It's on TNT. It's on Sky. It's on all these multiple platforms, because His Excellency's trying to break down the boundaries of the political nonsense, if you like, that has historically stopped big fights from happening.
Do you think the future of boxing is in Saudi Arabia, and if so, why?
I mean, money. You know, it's a blood sport. It's a prize fight, right? So the fighters are always going to navigate to where the money is. and no one has money or no one is prepared to spend money like Saudi Arabia. And, with His Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh, you've actually got a guy that has an unbelievable passion and he's very knowledgeable about the sport. So they can really do whatever they want to do. They're very powerful. I don't think the future of the sport is in Saudi Arabia, but I think they're going to be major players.
Boxing. I'm getting up managing some fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but they were 5 million. You interested? I've always wondered, can you box yourself?
So I had a few amateur bouts, like gym bouts. So I boxed at a club called Billericay Boxing Club, and I thought that I could really fight. Like, I grew up around Naz and Eubank and Bruno.
Oh, you grew up around?
Yeah, in terms of when I was 12, 13, 14, I was in their changing rooms, I was carrying their belts out, and I was watching them train and spar, and I felt that I could fight myself. And I was okay, like, no real ability, but I was, and I had 3 of these fights as an amateur. And it was funny because I've told the story before, but in my first ever fight, which was at Dagenham, you'd get there in the morning and they'd weigh the clubs, and basically whoever weighed the same, you just match off with him, right? So I get in the corner and I bought all my gear, went down Charlie Magri's in Bethnal Green. I bought all my sky blue shorts, blue boots, Lonsdales. I get in the ring and they say, and in the blue corner from Billericay Boxing Club, Eddie Hills. I thought, fuck me, got my name wrong. I can't believe it. It was like my big moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I finished the fight, and back then, like, you don't really get a winner. Do you know what I mean? They just lift both hands up and say, well done, you too, respect. And I said to my dad in the car home, can't believe they called me Eddie Hills. And he went, I told them to. I said, what do you mean? He went, oh mate, if they would have known you're my son, they would have given you an absolute pasting. I was like, fuck you now. He walks in and he's like, they're going, we're not very happy with things and he's like, what do you know? What do you do? Do you know what I mean? What, we've got a business in here. Yeah. My dad, go away.
What fight has made and grossed you guys the most money?
Well, that's a good question.
What was the one?
I mean, probably the Joshua Ruiz rematch, ironically.
Really?
Because he made a huge amount of money for that fight in Saudi Arabia, but there's been some big ones, the Canelo Alvarez fights, AJ Klitschko, AJ Ngannou.
Were you surprised the way AJ got Ngannou out of there quick? Like that
Mate,
quick?
Because
Ngannou had a great performance against
you know
Fury.
what, like all week, and Fury was there that week, and Fury's actually great to be around. Like, he's very knowledgeable about boxing and away from the madness, and sometimes he says some silly things, we all do, but he's actually really good company, Fury. And he was going to me, I'm telling you now, this bloke hits fucking hard, right? And he goes to me, his chin, I hit him clean with right hands and they didn't even move him. And I'm thinking, this guy's got heavy hands, he's got a great chin. Like, I ain't sure about this fight. And obviously AJ did what he did. And I feel like sometimes he won't get the credibility for that win because Ngannou's an MMA fighter. But if you look at what Ngannou did against Fury, and people say, yeah, but Fury, didn't train properly. I don't necessarily buy. He definitely weren't in the shape of his career, but he arguably won the fight, and that knockout was brutal. And then you get people going, no, if you run it back on slow-mo, it looks like a dive. He didn't actually you should have heard it. It was like a gun went off on Ngannou's chin, and he was like,
you actually heard it in the video?
Yeah, he's laying on the floor, his legs buckled underneath him, his mum's in the ring crying, like, oh mate, it was a proper brutal knockout.
Do you get excited in them moments?
Right, straight up, fucking yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. About representing other heavyweights. I don't want to be in a fight with AJ against another heavyweight that I represent.
Yeah.
Because I can't be neutral. How can I be neutral? I hate having two fighters fighting each other. Because I'm like this. I want to be up on my feet. I want to be sweating. I want to be so pumped with my heart beating out my chest. And that's, when AJ chinned Ngannou, I was like, and that's the thing, God willing, AJ chins Daniel Dubois, wins the world heavyweight title, and then Fury beats Usyk, and then AJ fights Fury for the lot. undisputed world champion. Fucking off we go.
Do you think if Fury loses to Usyk again, you can still make that fight happen?
Yes, but the
think?
size of it won't be the same, and that's what might stop the fight.
I think everyone would still tune into
They
it.
would, but the thing is, what the money that people would pay for it, i.e. the Saudis, would be less than if they both win. So what I'm saying is,
Okay.
if Fury gets beat again, he may go, like if he feels like he's not the fighter he was, I don't want to fight AJ. I don't want to lose to AJ. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack it in. But if he beats Usyk and AJ beats Dubois, the money is going to be so big, no one can turn it down.
Do you feel like the new introduction of celebrity fighters into the world of popularizing boxing, like what obviously what are those brothers called again?
Paul brothers.
Yeah, the Pauls and all these types of people, the KSIs,
Yeah,
the Misfits and all that.
I mean, I get it. Like, these people are unbelievably influential. I did KSI against Logan Paul.
Yeah.
2 in Los Angeles.
Oh,
at
you
the
did
Staples
that?
Center. I promoted that
Yeah,
fight.
yeah.
Made a lot of money. It was huge. The numbers were huge, but I just didn't feel comfortable. And I like KSI and I like Logan Paul, and I think they're both very smart guys. But you know, when your heart's not quite in it, like you're running a presser, and I'm like, "What have you got to say?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, your mum." You know, I'm like, fuck, no, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, the money's great and everything, but my soul's not in it. And I just love boxing.
What are you saying? What? It wasn't enough aggressive for you?
It's just, it was that YouTube world, like
Yeah.
influencer world, and I'm just a bit old, I guess, for that. I just want to see great boxing.
Yeah,
I love the sport.
I mean,
I get it attracting people to the sport,
yeah,
which I'm over the moon about, as long as we can drive those people into real boxing. So yeah, look, you're coming in to watch KSI and Jake Paul, but by the way, check this fight out we got on Saturday. And if that's happening, if it's driving eyeballs to the sport, I'm happy. But if it's driving eyeballs to the sport and they're finding out about how great the sport can be in the professional code, even better, because AJ's kind of like the first guy that really brought that casual audience as well.
I think so.
And that's important. That's where you get the bulk of your numbers. The fanatic fight fans is great, but the casual audience is what's going to deliver monster numbers.
What did you feel like when you finally signed Canelo?
It was massive for us because we were kind of searching for that big star in America. And when you talk about AJ in England, Canelo's the same in America. Massive draw. I mean, he's at the back end of his career, still pound for pound great, but there was a period probably 5, 6, 7 fights ago where he was just completely unbeatable. And also one of the funniest blokes you'll ever meet. Like, one of the coolest fuckers you'll ever meet.
He does some crazy things like outside of boxing, like he's into like proper adventurous things, like driving,
horse riding.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what we were saying earlier about, silk pajamas. He's another one. Made hundreds of millions, and still up for the challenge, still getting up in the morning, still doing the hard spars, still taking on the young contenders. That's where the true greats are made.
Yeah, that makes sense. How realistic do you think Canelo versus Crawford is?
I mean, I think that there's a couple, whenever I've spoke to Saul about it, he doesn't feel like he'll get the respect for that fight because Crawford is 3 divisions lower. And also, Saul's body now is not as resilient as it used to be. So I don't think he really likes fighting movers. He likes fighting people that come to him to fight. So Crawford is very smart, very fast, creates great angles. And it's not a great style for Canelo. But even if Canelo beats him, everyone will go, yeah, but Crawford's a welterweight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but money talks. One thing with Canelo Alvarez, you pay the money, you get the fight.
Oh, so he likes, who likes money more, Canelo or
my
your dad?
It's very close. Do you know what I mean? The only problem is Canelo spends it. My dad doesn't,
Yeah,
so no, but there's always a price with Saul, and he will make sure that he gets you to pay. you know?
Yeah.
So that fight, Canelo against Crawford, that's a fight that His Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh, likes. Do you know what I mean? And if he likes it, he'll pay the money. I don't think Canelo really likes the fight that much, but if you pay the money, he'll take the fight.
Who's the best boxer ever in your opinion?
Probably Sugar Ray Robinson. I
Yeah?
think, yeah. I mean, you talk about, like, went through the weight classes, just unbelievable. But obviously, at a time, you have to be a real boxing purist to know that. One of my heroes growing up was Sugar Ray Leonard, right? You know, the same kind of time as Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, the four kings in the middleweight era. I think Muhammad Ali, obviously, you know, the way that he changed the sport, you know, changed many things in the world, but also as a fighter, as a personality. And then I guess growing up, Mike Tyson. Do you know what I mean? I mean, probably one of the most fearful men on the planet, really. Fearsome men on the planet.
Scary guy.
Yeah.
Scary guy now.
Scary, always scary. I remember bumping him into a club once in Vegas. I thought, I've got to get, like, there's few people that you really, you know, you've got to have a photo.
Yeah, the photo.
And like Mike
yeah.
Tyson's one of them, isn't he? I mean, you've got to get a photo with Mike Tyson. And I just sort of went over and said, hey, Mike, I think I was like early 20s. Yeah, you might know my dad, Barry Hearn, here. And he just looked at me and sort of grunted. I was like, quick snap. And then I was out there.
Yeah.
He's one of those. You talk about Dillian and those guys. He's one that will just go on a sixpence, you know.
How about Mayweather?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Not the biggest Mayweather
I think that Mayweather was unquestionably one of the best ever. But I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to say he's not a true fighter because he fought everybody he could of his era. But he was a different kind of skill set, you know. He was very much hit and don't get hit, which is the art of boxing. I think sometimes when these guys carry on and they do the exhibitions and all that kind of stuff, it just sort of diminishes the legacy a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that's what I feel like's happened with Mayweather.
Why do you think he does those things, though? Do you think
For money.
I
I don't think he's got the money he says. That's what I think.
I think he still needs the money
I don't
after
think
all
he
these
needs
years.
the money. But you know when you got that lifestyle, right? So when you're spending what he's spending...
It's a lot of expenses.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not spending your money, so you'll be all right.
I'm all right. I don't spend any of it.
No
You know what
exhibitions for you.
I mean? I just let you drive me around in the Cullinan.
That's what I'm saying, man. Look where life brought me.
Look, I got a free ride home. Unbelievable.
Exactly. I bought petrol and everything.
Yeah. Do you want me to chip in?
So what is this, the HQ, yeah?
This is the HQ. This is where I was brought up.
Oh, so you lived here as well?
My dad bought this house
Yeah.
in 1984
Wow. I was in
when I was 5 years old
Yeah.
for 200 grand.
Good deal.
Yeah, 25 acres. And obviously it was a place that was very good to him.
Yeah.
And we turned it into the HQ. So this is our head office for Matrim.
Okay.
Now. All our staff, about 70 staff in here.
70?
Yeah, and then there's just in this HQ.
But did you grow up here as well?
Yeah.
To what age?
About 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is your old house?
Yeah.
And now it's
Yeah,
the HQ?
yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.